Fantastic. All right. Welcome, everybody, to week 4 of the Diamond program. I'm so excited that we brought this to you. And each week, I think Andrew and I have both been really, really impressed with the quality of the content. And we're not bragging. It's not our content. This is all BNI content. And the basics that we are providing, I do think are missing in some of our chapters. And I think I've heard that in your feedback. A lot of people have called me and talked to me about the content and about what they're getting out of it. And these are little tweaks, little things that we can do to make our chapters significantly better. And it's amazing how many little things will all add up to just amazement. So I want to thank you for participating, whether you're here live or whether you're watching the replay. I want to give a lot of kudos to the people who are here live, because I think that the best way to participate in something like this is as a group together. And I think that you're more participative when you're here live as well. And it's easier to kind of get sidetracked when you're watching the replay. So for those of you watching the replay, wakey, here we go. All right, here we go, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. So we know that we're here for chapter revival, and we mean that in a positive way. We want to make sure that all of our chapters are really strong and successful. So we're working on these building blocks. We've got building blocks of success that we're putting forward together. Diamond Growth is a program that brings about change to get chapters back to their desired state. And the desired state is a fully functioning chapter with very good contact sphere coverage, balanced, 25 or more members, everybody in the green on the traffic lights, and the chapter actually in the green on the traffic lights. That's perfection. That's what we're looking for. And it is not unobtainable. It's in fact incredibly attainable. And that's what the Diamond Growth Program is about. So we're working on that with you guys. Where do you want to be? I'm sure you want to be a green chapter. I'm sure you want to have all of your members in the green. And I'm sure you want to have a balanced chapter so that every one of your members is benefiting, not just you. Am I right? Is that sound like what you want? That's what you want out of BNI? Now, if you're in BNI Ignite and you're watching this, that's what we're building. It's not Ignite, it's Inspire. Get it right, Wendy. BNI Inspire, that's a brand new chapter, 21 members right now, just about to start running the chapter meetings. We're going to get to 25 before we launch, because we know that a 25 member chapter is going to actually grow and develop and just excel. So where do you want to be? We want to be attractive to new investors. The people who visit your chapter are investing in you and your business, and you and your culture, and you and your chapter's vision for what BNI really is. We want it to make it something people want to be part of. And we want to use the education and the culture to get the chapter back on track. And so if that is what Diamond Growth is, think of it as a positive opportunity to get to where you want to be, with all of your members in the green, all of your chapters in the green, and all of the visitors who come wanting to be part of it, or thinking about people who they want to recommend to it. All right. So growth will then continue to its potential. So we've talked about that every week, and we've also talked about this every week. What makes BNI special? What makes BNI different? What makes BNI work? And the answer is commitment. So it's absolutely the commitment of the members. And that's why we have that incredible, my dog is barking a lot. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you?
Just putting their 2 pence in.
He's really excited, and my husband is now stopping him. Thank you very much. In week 1, I loved the way that we went through the commitment of the interview questions that we ask our members or our applicants to make sure that they understand the commitment levels of people who are involved in BNI. And we're going to finish with that today. So,
if I can throw something in there, Wendy, please, as a visitor, if we think back to when we all first visited chapters, I know the first time I visited the chapter, I had a massive FOMO episode whereby I just wanted to be part of it. That's the sort of environment we really want to create, such that when any of our visitors arrive, they want to be part of it. We want to include them. We want that application. And if they're the right member, all the better. But having that approach with the right culture is going to set the atmosphere. Thank you.
100%. Love that. You can interrupt me anytime. So we went through the chapter environment in week 1, and we also went through the chapter education. We had some information for you. We've given you some extra homework that hopefully you have watched or listened to. In week 2, we went through the member experience and the visitor experience, and both of those layered on top of each other. So if you need to go back to some of that content, please do. It's going to be available for you into perpetuity. We're going to make sure that we have this as part of our library. We then last week talked about the ask. How are we asking for referrals? What are we doing in order to make sure that people know what we need? And then we talked about the referral process, the fact that there were 3 people involved in every referral activity, and that we need to make sure that everybody stays in contact. So that's where we've been. Where we're going to today is we're going to talk about power teams, but we're going to build up to power teams. And then we're also going to talk about what's next. What are the next steps for you now that we've finished the Diamond program and now that everybody in your chapter is on the same page? Now, I might stop there for a minute, because I bet everybody in your chapter is not on the same page. I was really surprised and a little sad, I have to say, that it wasn't a membership committee request or even requirement that everybody in your chapters took this. There are some chapter members in your chapters that have been with BNI a long time who could probably use this refresher in order to really understand how all of the system works together. And there's some new members who've never really experienced the launch process where we do go through all of these elements of what it's like to be involved in a BNI. And so it's not too late. It's not too late for those people to get involved and to participate in week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. I hope that you will be our ambassadors to that. Be an ambassador to the Diamond program. Have you benefited from it? And I think that I've asked this question before. Wouldn't you want everybody in your chapter to have experienced what you've just experienced so that they are all talking from the same page, all singing from the same hymn book, as they say, all making sure that we're all really in the right culture? And if they don't want to do that, then you have to question their commitment to the chapter as a whole. Are they contributing the same way that we want them to? We're going to talk about that a little bit more. But what's next is a 60-day to success program. And I really am excited to present it to you. And Andrew and I have been working on this, so we're very excited about it. Okay, so let's start with topic 7, and that is power teams. Power teams are a very advanced form of BNI. Even as a brand new member, though, to be aware of what a power team is really intelligent. And if you've been a chapter member for quite some time and you're not part of a power team, you might say, well, why aren't I? Because aren't power teams the way to make sure that I'm maximizing my involvement with BNI? Yes, they are. Power teams are absolutely the way to maximize the return that you get from your BNI investment. You're investing money and time into your BNI exposure. Why not do it with the tool that's going to be proving to be the most successful? So here's how we do things. We start with contact spheres, and we'll talk through that just a little bit with you. We then talk about referral partners, and that's a strengthening of the relationship. And then we're going to talk about power teams. All right? Everybody still on board? Happy. Good. Let's go to the next slide. Contact spheres. Now, this information comes from the presentation that we do in the member on-ramp. And it's not information that you should be unfamiliar with. But when we're looking at a chapter, we look at these 6 contact spheres. There is an argument that there are 8. There's an argument that there are 12. You could have an automotive contact sphere, for example, or you could have a event contact sphere all by itself, where just weddings, a wedding contact sphere, for example. But nonetheless, these are the contact spheres that I'm showing you now, and they're not taking all of the positions. There are over 200 categories and specialties that BNI has, and these are just some of them. It happens to be that these 24 are the most popular in Australia, and that these 48 down here are the second level. It doesn't mean that they're better or worse or whatever than anyone. But these 24 right here, if you have those 24 people in your chapter, you're only one person off of being a 25 member chapter. So it might be a nice thing to look at if you know, and I've just told you, that these are the most popular, then maybe you should tell people when you're inviting them that, by the way, banking services is one of the most popular positions in Australia. There are banks that are members of BNI. We had a bank manager visit Pittwater Professionals last week, and it was obvious that he could get business for his bank and still sit next to the residential mortgage broker, who is a broker, not a bank, and to a finance mortgage broker. It was obvious in the room. Everybody saw it, including the mortgage broker, who said to the banker, I'd love to have you as part of this chapter because everybody needs a local bank, right? So if you now know that a lot of chapters in Australia have a bank, maybe you should visit your local bank and invite the manager to visit your BNI chapter. Anyway, I digress. I like to get on to visitors a lot, don't I? So let's just look at all of these and think about that. But then you can look at the entire list. Contact spheres and well-balanced chapters are a critical component of the BNI success model. The reason BNI works is the diversity in the chapter. It's the diversity that helps make the chapter strong. And that's diversity in the specialties that we have. It's also diversity in the people who are in the chapter. We want startups and we want established businesses. We want young people, we want older people. We want people who are male and we want people who are female. We want straight, we want gay, we want Black, we want white. We want all kinds of people in our chapters because diversity gives us strength. All right? So we need to look at these context spheres in particular to get the diversity of the specialties in our chapters. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into how a specific marketing services contact sphere would work. I know I've spoken about this a lot with the people who are in marketing because I'm a marketer by trade. And so when I talk with someone like Alan Skinner about his business, I know what I'm talking about. And this is exactly it. This is what I'm talking about. In your chapters, you will get more referrals per member the more members you have in the chapter. You will also get more closed business per member the more members you have in the chapter. So it's not a linear scale. If you add one person, you are going to get a significantly greater number of referrals. And if you add that person, you're also going to get a significantly higher number of closed business. And that's because all of us have networks. We're going to talk about that too. But look at this marketing services professional. This is someone who specializes in helping people strategize about their marketing services. And she has access to a printer, a photographer, a graphic designer, promotional products person, a videographer, an event manager, a copywriter, and a social media specialist. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in your marketing contact sphere, they're happy, happy, happy people because they are all pitching for in their lane. They're staying in their lane. Even if their business does a lot of things, they are working for each other and they are working together in a contact sphere. And when the marketing services person gets a new client, she is able to recommend the services of all of them if she knows, likes, and trusts them. If she knows, likes, and trusts them, right? If the printer gets a job, the printer is also able to make recommendations to all of the other people. She's not just a spoke and a hub. It works for each one of those people within that contact sphere. All right. So which contact sphere are you guys in? Could you use the chat bar and tell me which one you guys are in? Let's have a little look see. Where are you guys? The people who are here live, the people who are here on the recording, which contact sphere are you in? And then we're going to talk about that a little bit. So we've got trades, we've got events, we've got business services, we got real estate. I love it. Fantastic. You notice how you can identify which contact sphere you're in because the name is there and it's under there. All right, that's good. So let's just use Mark as an example. You're the last one to go in there. You're in real estate here. And Mark, you are, oh, and you're busy. Are you busy right now or can I talk to you right now?
You can talk to me.
Okay, good.
It's all done.
So good.
Oh, well done.
So in the real estate, he's real estate law. In Australia, we call that property law. So property law right there. Okay. So he's in this real estate section. And in your chapter, Mark, do you have a residential agent?
Yes, we do.
You have a mortgage agent?
Yes.
Do you have an insurance agent?
No, we'd love one.
Do you have a cleaning service?
No, we'd love one.
Do you have security systems?
No, we don't.
Title? That's American. Let's call that American. An inspector, a property inspector?
No, we don't.
A property manager?
Yes, we do.
Pest control?
No.
Carpet cleaning?
No.
And a removalist?
She moved to Hunters Hill.
Yep. So do you see the open categories that Mark can do, you guys? Each of you can do that. So now I want you to do that in your head. I just did that with Mark. Which are the open ones? And I only want you to write down, if you've got a pen, handy dandy pen, always available, write down which categories in your chapter are missing from yours. All right? Which categories are missing from yours? Now, in Mark's chapter, I'm just going to continue, there's a SEO specialist. And an SEO specialist isn't even on this list. But let's see, let's call that media services just for fun. Let's put them in the media services. All right. So in media services, in his chapter, they don't have a digital marketer, a graphic designer, a marketing services, a promotional items, a printer, a sign company, a print advertising person, a copywriter, a videographer, a radio advertising, or an embroiderer. He is all by himself in that chapter. He would need to use his pen a lot. He'd be writing down all of those categories. 11 of them are vacant. I hope that none of you can beat that. Can anybody beat that? Hi, Jim. Can anybody beat that? Does anybody have more than 11 vacancies? Gold. You're good to go. So your job is easy. His job is hard. All right. What I want you to do is I want you to think about those people and filling your contact sphere. Andrew, what does it mean for your membership and for your referrals if you've got more people in your contact sphere?
Business and referrals just goes through the roof exponentially. If you're sitting out there wanting to have people around you, it's a bit of a hard task. But when you have the team around you working together, it's a lot easier to have those referrals, a lot easier to build the relationships and in turn grow each other's businesses. So without a doubt.
Do you imagine if Stephen, that's his name, Stephen, who's the SEO specialist, had a graphic designer in the chapter who was also designing websites?
Well, if that graphic designer is receiving, say, $5,000 worth of business a month, that business is then coming inside the chapter.
100%. And that graphic designer is also able to recommend Stephen's services to his clients. Stephen doesn't have that right now.
It's when you look at the contact sphere in those empty boxes, especially in the top 8 lines, that's the low-hanging fruit. They're the easy ones.
Let's do one other person as an example. Allison, would you like to share the people who are missing from yours? So let's go into yours. So you're in business services here. Tell everybody what you do.
I'm still writing all the missing. So I'm accounting.
All right. So you're accounting. And
who have you been writing?
In your chapter, do you have a financial advisor?
No.
No. Do you have a bank?
No.
IT services?
No.
Scary, isn't it? Look at that. Imagine how many referrals you could get from those three people.
Yes.
Commercial insurance?
No.
Business law?
No.
Telecom? Anybody from telecommunications?
No.
Health insurance?
No.
That's very big in the US, by the way, so we can ignore that one because we're Aussies. Credit cards? Credit, I don't even know what that means. Business advisors?
Our business coach, no.
Okay. Office machines, like people who sell printers and that?
No.
And anybody who does employment or HR?
Oh, HR.
There we go.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. HR.
So do you see that there's a lot of opportunity for Allison to grow the number of people that she has giving her referrals and the number of people she can give referrals to by filling up her contact sphere? So each of you have that as an opportunity.
Thanks, Crystal.
Oh, Crystal, you're awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So I hope that helps you guys a little bit on what a contact sphere is. Now, notice that a contact sphere is just a similar service that you offer. It's a marketing service, it's an event service, it's a business service. Very different than what we're about to talk about. Okay? So we do this not on the we do this as the member on-ramp. Business. Think about business. This is you, by the way. This is you. This is Lucienne. There she is. She's wearing pants today. So this is Lucienne. And Lucienne has a network without BNI. And come on. Thank you. No. Show me the, that's the network with BNI. Come on, go backwards. All right, there it is. So I need to use the cursor. I can't use my finger. I was using my finger for a minute.
Okay,
you can't see my finger. Okay, so here's Lucienne's personal network. All the people that she knows that aren't in BNI. And here are 3 people who might be able to give her referrals or who she might be able to give referrals to. The rest of them, here's her nephew. This is your gym buddy. This is people you go to the gym with. This person over here swims with you every now and then at the beach, and you see them at the dog park, right? But these people are actually people that you can work with. So that's without BNI. When you actually then get a BNI chapter, everybody in the chapter is starting to learn about what you do and who you do it for and what your target market is, right? We do those through one-to-ones and through our weekly presentation. And therefore, a lot of people in your BNI chapter can actually think about you as a referral partner. That's what we are in BNI. In fact, there are some chapters in the world that don't call members members. They call members referral partners. So this is our group of referral partners. That's what they actually call it. I don't know if that's official, like sanctioned, but let's go with that. So then those BNI people, so these are your chapter members, Lucienne. This is your network, but your chapter members, look, each of them have their own personal network as well. You see that personal network out there? So each of them have people they can connect you to. Those are the second tier referrals that they can give you pretty easily. And they've got lots of people out there. If you grow your chapter, I don't like this thing. This is just not working.
What's your mouse doing?
There we go. Hold on. Look at that. This is growing your chapter. Now there's another. Sorry about the thing not working well. Anyway, this is the more people means that you actually can get more referrals, because the more people you have in your chapter, the more people that they know outside. Now, we call this Dunbar's theory in some of the training that we do. Dunbar's theory is that there's a theory that every single person in the world has about 150 connections. That these are people that they would be, this is what I say in my training, these are people that you actually wouldn't be ashamed to walk up to them in a bar and sit down with them and have a chat. About 150 people in your network that you'd see them and you'd go, hey, how you doing? And you'd have a little chat with them, right? Sit down with them. There's probably 2 or 3,000 people in your overall peripheral, like through social media. But I'm not talking about social media. I'm talking about people that you know. And the more people in your chapter, the more 150 people you have access to. Does that make sense to everybody? So we all have this little, I call it a little cloud. Think of it as your little LinkedIn cloud of the people who you really actually do know. Like, because you don't know everybody you're connected to on LinkedIn. So these are the people you actually do know, and you could sit down with them and have a drink. All right. You probably remember their name. You probably remember where you met them, and you might remember what they do. 150 people. And so these are the people that you think about when you hear about referral requirements. These people here, these people in the red, they're your referral partners. They're going to give you access to their networks if they understand what you do. So contact spheres means filling up the chapter with category that do the same sorts of things. Referral partners are about identifying the target market and the unique selling propositions that you offer that enable your referral partners to recommend you to their network. Now, is everybody following me? Liz just joined us. I didn't even see Liz join. Hi, Liz. How you doing?
I've been here all along.
Oh, well, then in that case, I must have hit a button because now I can see you. Hi.
Oh, no, I have my video off for a bit.
All right. So are we making sense here? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Liz, good. All right. I love it. So you can see that the larger you make the BNI chapter, the more referral partners you have and the more opportunities for them to give you referrals is there. All right. So we've talked about contact spheres. Now we've talked about referral partners. What I want to do now is talk about power teams. And I'd really like to introduce you to the concept of a power team. Now you don't need to see this slide because this slide doesn't mean much. So let's stop sharing the slide for a minute. Let's talk about power teams for a minute. How many of you went to the power team training that we ran about a month ago? Crystal went, Alan went, Allison went, Karen went. Anybody else? All right. So for Liz,
Anybody not aware of it? Did anybody not aware of it that we were doing it?
yay, everybody knew.
Okay.
I'm
Cool.
going to take that as a yes. Everybody knew it was
good.
happening. And you either could go or you couldn't go. It was about 2.5 hours of training. And so I'm not going to do 2.5 hours of training right now, is what I'm basically about to tell you. For those of you who went to the training, I am positive that anything I say now is either going to spur your mind to something that you could or should or would be doing in order to improve the way your power teams work. But power teams are different than contact spheres in every way, because power teams are formed around customers, not around business services. They are formed around customers and customer types. Okay? So, for example, Karen Vickers, her business is finance. She's in the finance category, but she is in aged care finance. So she helps people or their parents or their friends move into aged care and have confidence that their financial situation is not being exploited and is being maximized to the benefit of the person going into aged care and their family. Am I right, Karen? Did I get that pretty right? Yeah, good. So Karen has a very specific target market that she's after. And she may actually be after people my age, because my parents are in their 80s. And so her target market might be to talk to people who have parents that are going into aged care, because those are people who will influence the parents. And those are also the people who she can get access to. So who else has access to those people? Now, you might remember that last week we went through the little ray of sunshine. Does everybody remember the little ray of sunshine from last week? This is a very common thing, because what we did then was we asked who Karen's target market was and who else targeted it. This was a precursor to figuring out who your power team might be. Because in your chapter, if you look at your little ray of sunshine and you say, my name's Karen and I'm focused on people who are between 50 and 65 years of age and have elderly parents, who else has that as a target market, right? And it might be a real estate agent, for example, because a real estate agent is that age group is probably either looking to downsize because they are now empty nesters, or they're looking to help their parents sell their property. So Karen does a lot of work, I imagine, with real estate agents when they decide to put the house on the market and then to be able to take those funds and put them into different places. So a real estate agent might be on Karen's little ray of sunshine, and then Karen can talk to them about her target market and their target market and say, listen, maybe we could market together. This is what a power team does. A power team starts to share information about their clients. They talk about who their clients are and they share their client information with each other. Why? Because they know, like, and trust each other, and they have a common vision for being able to make those clients exceptionally comfortable, happy, and satisfied. They have a complementary service that helps each other to move forward. Now, it's more than just an aged care finance person and a real estate agent. Over time, Karen is going to find that there are probably 5 or 6 or 7 other people who have the same target market that she does, and she will be interested in forming a stronger relationship with them than your normal one-to-one would do. A normal one-to-one will get great results. A great power team will get you even better results because you will have a common vision, a common market, and you will trust each other so much because of the way that you've gotten to know each other. That's the word power. So you've really inspired each other to share information about your current client bases. Anderson.
One of the typical ways that you know you've got a great relationship and a power team is when the power team members are happy to open the contacts up on their phone and say, right, here's my contacts. This is my team. Who would you like to meet? Who can I introduce you to? Who can I even bring along to a power team meeting? And let's all get to know this person together. Right? It's that confidence. It's that relationship confidence of the ultimate sharing.
Another example of that is sharing your diaries with each other. So, for example, if I'm going to make stuff up, if Crystal is going to meet with, she's a business coach, and if she's going next week to meet with 5 or 6 different clients to assess their next steps, right? You've taken them through a program. Maybe it's a customer care call that you're going to be doing with them. And let's see, and we'll use Allison because Allison's an accountant. And you're in a power team with Allison. And you know that all of them are good business owners. And so you show Allison your schedule and you say, here are 5 people I'm meeting with next week, Allison. Here's the kind of companies that they're doing. All of them have accountants, but I'm sure that because I know you so well, that there's a way that I could introduce you to them. How can I do that with you? And then you share your diary with Allison, and Allison says, you know what, I'd love to meet that person. And you organize the facilitate the introduction. And you might do that by calling the person and saying, listen, John, I know you already have an accountant, but we've been working together for a little while, and I'm sitting here with Allison right now. She is a really good referral partner of mine. I work with her a lot, and I'd love for you to meet her. Would it be okay if I give her your number so she can give you a call? you know? Now, I just shortened that and I made it up, but that's what a power team is going to enable, because Crystal will know Allison so well that she'll know that Allison can actually do better than John's current accountant. And if she knows Allison well enough, she can explain why. She can say, listen, that problem that you were talking to me about, Allison's actually dealt with that a number of times. And I think she actually has a solution that she'd like to talk through with you. Can I do that introduction? You know what I mean? So it's because of that strong relationship. Does that come from just doing one-to-one with Allison every, I don't know, 6 months? So, if Crystal and Allison are in a chapter with each other and there's 16 members, and so every 16 weeks you might meet with each other, is that the kind of relationship that will develop that sort of introduction? I don't think it is. But a power team meets more regularly than that. And power team members actually meet with each other more frequently than that. It's not to say that they stop meeting with all of the chapter members. They still do, because the diversity and the structure of the chapter is what holds the power teams together. I'd love to open it up for comments and or questions at this point in time about the difference between contact spheres, referral partners, and power teams.
Just while people are thinking, Wendy, may I also add that being part of a power team is not automatic. Some chapters think that just because you're in the chapter, you should automatically be part of a power team. It takes building that relationship as a starter, that they're not automatic. They need to be worked on with a lot of effort. And from that effort, the results come.
Yeah. It would be important, if you like the sound of a power team, by the way, to take the training. Take the training.
That's an idea.
Yeah. Karen Vickers.
Can I just make a comment? Alan, I'm throwing you in this again. We actually did it. Some people in the group have heard it. We actually did a exercise on one of these calls around a power group for Alan. And Alan, you might want to give him a bit of background before I then just crap on. Yeah, I can. Okay. So Alan's actually doing something with a mechanic right now. So he's got a power team. Well, he's a wallpaper guy and he's doing something with a mechanic, because the mechanic actually does baby seats. So they're looking at getting into childcare centres and looking at other things. And then we brainstormed who else could actually be in that power group to offer services to parents of young children, or to things. We came up with a photographer. We came up with gift ladies. We came up with so many things that it actually allowed Alan. Now you've taken yourself off mute, so you can talk now, Alan.
Oh,
right?
no.
Oh, I thought he was on mute. I can't hear you.
Not this problem again.
His sound, I swear, I'm going to buy him a new computer.
Anyway, all of a sudden, Alan's got this amazing potential power group around him, where they've got this diverse networks that they will actually have an amazing business because of what they're offering. And it's so, thinking outside of the square.
Yeah. And so interestingly, that came on the power team training, because we did a breakout and they talked about it. And it's amazing what happens when you get a group of people together and say, let's work on a problem. Here's an issue for, when you think about your target market and you ask who else has that target market, the fact that a mechanic and a wallpaper guy got together and said, wait a minute, we actually have a common target market. Is there something we could do with this? It's pretty amazing. And it's outside of the square. Paul.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop Alan in it as well, because he goes to people's houses to put wallpaper up and does a stellar job. But Alan gave me a referral yesterday because he actually went outside somebody's house, looked at their pool. Their pool was green. Not only do they want a pool to be cleaned, but they want a full renovation done. So this is the breadth of vision that Alan's got. So
Alan had his clipboard here with each of the categories in the chapter going, right, so which person do you need? We need a painter. Okay, well that wall over there's not right, etc., etc. And
he's the lady he spoke to. I rang her literally just before this meeting, and she said, Alan, aren't you here to do the wallpaper? And he said, yeah, but your pool needs fixing. So I'm like, that's the sort of thing.
I love it.
Power teams can come from anywhere, and yeah.
Yeah,
Hats off, mate. Appreciate it.
Brad is seeing a whole bunch of investment that he's going to need to make. So Al, just don't go to Brad's place. He's got a green pool. Does anybody else have a story about their target market? Does anybody want to share anything else about power teams or thoughts on power teams before we go? Yeah, Paul, and then Lucienne.
Oh, I've hogged. Yeah, sorry. Just a quick one. Like, I had a 1-to-1 with Marty, who's a finance broker, or mortgage broker in our group. And like, it was a nice chat. It wasn't structured as well as it could have been. It should have been. At the end of it, just off the back of poor renovations and stuff. I said, Marty, how can I help you? And he said, mate, not everyone who wants to build a pool or do a pool renovation can afford it. They're going to need money from somewhere. And it was just like, it was so obvious. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So I've got him tagged in now. I'm running a campaign at the moment for pool renovations. So if anyone needs money in order to get a pool, then I'm going straight to Marty off the back of that. So it's not just trades that I'm in. It's not just trades like, plumbers and electricians, because I'm in the trades group. It's across different sectors as well. So that's a big power group for me. That was a great sort of moment. So
Love it.
Yeah, it's really very powerful.
Fantastic. Lucienne and then Alex.
This might be unhelpful, but you've made this comment 2 or 3 times in this meeting already, and it's the know and like. And it's the power group team that you have to get to know. And I think it took me a year, really, at least, to get to know and like Andrew and John, to the point where we are so close. And they, it's one of those underpinning issues that we talk about the power teams, but really the base there.
Absolutely.
It does take time. Yeah, you got to work on it.
It does take time, and it's part. I'm going to share with you that I think that the membership committee does have a responsibility to make sure that the people who we're bringing in are of good enough quality that you are not wasting your time investing it in that know and like. You know what I mean? You guys, it's so important that your membership committees, you guys who are watching this, you're on the membership committees, some of you. And this is why I talk about quality is so important, because Lucienne's point there is so valuable for all of us. We don't want retention to be a problem in our chapters. We want good quality people who are willing to do what it takes to get to know, like, and trust each other so that the referrals can start to flow. And if they're unwilling to do the training, if they're unwilling to do the one-to-ones, if they're unwilling to participate at the level that they need to, then it's going to be fruitless for someone to invest the time to get to know and like them if they can't trust them to live up to the commitments of a member. Do I make BNI sound really hard? I don't mean to, but honestly, it does take commitment. And that's why we start with that every week, is that it's that commitment that makes it so successful. And it's
but is it hard, Wendy? Is it should we be thinking it's hard when we actually see this as a benefit?
I don't think so, but it does mean that the membership committee has a responsibility. And maybe I can ask some of the membership committee members to comment on that after I let Alex have her chat. Alex, it's your turn.
My question is, what is the difference between a strong referral partner to power teams?
Good question. And I'll use it with Paul and Martin as an example. Paul and Martin might be good referral partners back and forth with each other. It might be the formation of a power team when they start to do that. But a power team actually has meetings, a vision, a leader, and the training to support running the power team in a very efficient and effective way. So a referral partner is someone that you have one-to-ones with, and you have meetings with, and you support them very, very well. You can easily give referrals back and forth to each other. A power team has more structure to it and a true vision for what you're trying to do. It is not becoming part of the same company. It's not Alan and Jonathan, for example, forming a partnership and officially going into business together. That's not what a power team is. That's a merger and acquisition. What we're talking about is marketing referral partner agreements, basically, between each other.
And I understand is that power team need to be in the same chapter. Is that right?
Yes. So, and Alex and I did talk about this before, because Alex was asking, what if my power team's missing from my chapter? What if the people who I want to be in my referral relationship aren't in my chapter? Can I do a power team outside of my chapter? And the answer is, you can do anything you want. You really can, because we're not telling you how to run your business. However, a power team in your chapter is going to be following the BNI practice and best practice, which will get you the best results. And that is because of the weekly touch points. So the weekly touch points make a lot of difference between that trust capability, because you're with each other all the time. Now, do you have referral partners that are outside of BNI? Of course you do. Of course you do. And maybe those are your go-to people that you go to all the time. And then someone comes into your BNI world and you're like, oh, but I already have someone that I deal with. Well, don't waste the opportunity to develop two relationships, because chances are that the person you already refer to and the person who you've got in your BNI chapter are going to need each other at some point if you get involved right. So getting involved right means having regular meetings with that person and learning more about them, because you may have overflow that person can't handle one day. And you already want to know, like, and trust this person. So the person who's in the chapter is someone you should definitely get to know. And you might want to trial them out before you start giving them to your real valuable clients. That was a good question, Alex. Thank you. Anybody? Alan, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, just on that, yes. The other day, we were trying to get a photographer, and one of my customers actually does baby photography, and we're having a great old chat, and I got her really excited, and I asked her to come along to BNI, and she just couldn't sort of commit herself to it. And while she, like, I'm just thinking about it, I've talked to John about it. While she may be a good fit for in our power team, her not wanting to sort of come into BNI or not being able to right now just tells me that her commitment, I guess, I don't know. I felt like it wasn't going to work. So yeah.
And it probably wouldn't either. A neat thing to do, though, and this is perfectly legal, is for you and Jono to go and meet with her and explain what your vision is for the power team of members of the chapter. So and ask her if she knows any baby photographers who would be interested in that. It might sound a bit mean, but it's not. If she's not willing to commit herself, maybe she's got a network of people who also do infant and baby photography who would be interested in the commitment.
Yeah.
Great suggestion. All right, you guys, this is really what I wanted to do, and what Andrew and I wanted to do in this segment was share with you the difference between a contact sphere, a referral partnership, and a power team. We aren't trying to teach you everything you need to know about power teams, but if we whetted your appetite for them, then please let us know, because we will absolutely ask YP to run another power team session. I truly appreciated the time that he put in for that 2.5 hours, and I would definitely want to have enough people. We had 80 people on that call. I would want to rerun it with another 80 people on that call. So if you didn't get to go, or even if you want to watch it again, because I like to take training multiple times. I don't know about you, but I get more out of it the more I take it.
Well, we are human. It does take a couple of times for it to all sink in.
It does.
That's why we wear name tags.
It does. That is. I'm just going to read Yep, good. Beautiful. Thank you. I was just reading the chat to make sure I was good. All right, we're going to now move on. Brad, please.
Hands up.
Just a thought. It'd be really good at that next session.
Yep. Yep, you're still there.
That's right. It'd be really good at that next session to maybe have a live, not a live, but have a power team there to kind of discuss, like as if we were watching them.
Ooh.
And,
idea.
some sort of simulation or something.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool to kind of get our heads around the energy in the conversation. And
Great idea.
I love it. And perhaps we could do two, a more established one and then maybe one that got born. So if Alan and Jonathan really start to roll with this and use the system, maybe they could report back on how they've done that as well.
Yeah, even if they recorded it or something, something like that, if it was, within confidentiality. But I just think that'd just help others. It'd certainly help me get my head around it.
Yeah, we can definitely do case studies. I think that's a great idea. All right. So thank you for listening to that. I hope that was helpful for you as well. When we launch new chapters in some markets, they launch them completely around power teams. They actually ask the inbound people, and they start these chapters with, between 35 and 75 people, brand new chapters all around power teams, and use that as an inspiration to start, not contact spheres. We in Australia tend to start chapters around contact spheres. And then that's why power teams is not a strong part of our culture. But power teams, when they're done right, is absolutely the way to maximize your investment in BNI. Now, if you're not in a power team, I don't want you to dismay. I was never in a power team. I was a member for 10 years, and I had amazing referral partners. Amazing. And I got a tremendous amount out of BNI, and I wouldn't trade that. Could I have developed a power team? Yes, I've learned even more about power teams over the last few years. And I think that I could form a power team in my old company, in my old business, with my old hat on. But I'm not looking backwards, I'm looking forwards. I believe power teams are a good way to go. And I'd love for more people to think about what power teams they can have. And even if that only results in you having stronger referral partnerships, who's lost? Nobody's lost anything. So even if in the effort to find a power team, you've actually found a good referral partner, better. All right. Let's go on to topic number 8, which is what's next. So for all of you watching, let's have a deep breath and out. We've just been through an amazing Diamond Growth Program with the idea of bringing your chapters to have a strong culture that fits with the BNI model so that you can maximize the return on investment you get from your membership. Really, that's what the Diamond Program is about. And in order to do that, we need members of 25 or more, and that's what we're working towards. So what's next? Well, we want to talk about inviting visitors. We want to talk about attending a green chapter meeting, and we want to talk about, did I skip? The leadership powwow every week. So what we've got this is calling it 60 days to success. 60 days to success. So it is currently the 31st of August. So we have September and October. Those are 60 beautiful days, 61 to be exact. So we'll give you an extra day. 61 days to success. All right. And we're going to give you some ideas as a chapter to run through. All right. As a chapter. And I think that you'll appreciate this. The commitments that you've made as a member, we're not asking you to do anything else. Not one other thing. We want you to attend, and we want everybody to attend or have a sub. So it's really important over the next 61 days that you prioritize attendance and that you don't get a sub unless you really need a sub. You don't take a sub because you took another meeting. Don't take another meeting. Prioritize this one because your BNI meeting will get you a lot more referrals than one client meeting. Your BNI meeting will get you multiple referrals over time. So prioritize it at least for the next 61 days and see what happens. Number 2, learn. You're doing it right now. At the completion of this program, you can have 6 CEU points because you've been here for 6 hours. You also can put in any time that you've put into the training, the homework that we've given you. So if you've watched those podcasts, or if you've done any of that work, make sure that you put those CEU points in as well. But don't stop now. Over the next 60 days, keep learning. If you need to retake MSP or you want to retake MSP, do it, especially if you haven't taken it in the last few years. If you haven't taken MSP since before COVID, then please take it again. That'll be 2 CEU points because you'll take the 8 modules. Each one's about 15 minutes long, and you will get refreshed in all of the things that are current in BNI. So I invite you to learn, keep learning. Do your 1 CEU point each and every week. That's 1 hour of ongoing training. Listen to the podcast, do what you can. Invite. We want you to invite people. And invite is different than bring. David Cook once taught me this when Andrew and I were working on a launch project with him. And he said there's a big difference between inviting someone and bringing someone. It's a funnel, right? It's a sales funnel. You invite people and then you get to bring some. But you invite a lot of people and some people will say no. And some people will say not now. And some people will say not ever, right? But you have to invite people in order to bring them. So my suggestion is weekly invitations, but I'm going to talk about that more. But as a requirement, what your commitment is that you will bring 1 new visitor each month. So that's 2 visitors in the next 61 days. The 4th one there is to build trust. How do you build trust? It's through, anybody know? Besides Andrew? No Ed. No Karen. Who knows how you build
You all know
trust?
the answer. That's the funny part.
Yeah, Lucienne.
Within, well, one-to-ones.
That's it.
One-to-ones. That's it. It's the one-to-ones. So you're going to build trust, and that's at least 1 one-to-one per week. At least. I recommend 2. 1 with a referral partner or someone in your contact sphere, and 1 with a new member or someone you haven't met with in a long time. Right? So that's a suggestion. But 1 per week, every week. How do you do that? You plan it. You don't stand up in the meeting and say, hey, I'm free for a one-to-one at the end of the meeting if anybody's available. I don't know if you know this, but I cringe every time someone does that because it means that you haven't prepared for the one-to-one. And every one-to-one needs a little bit of prep. You know, you want to know who you're meeting with. You might want to go look at their website. You might want to look at their gains. You might want to send them yours. You might want to just prepare. Look at the last notes that you had from the one-to-one that you did previously. And you might want to say why you want to have the one-to-one with them. And it doesn't feel as special for you to say, I'll have a one-to-one with anybody who's available, or go up to Lucienne and say, Lucienne, I've been meaning to have a one-to-one with you for a while. Can we book that in the next couple of weeks? Because I've got some ideas for you, and I'd really like to understand a little bit more about how to give these referrals to you, or I'd like to understand what to look for. I need to get to know your business better. That's more direct. And then to say, by the way, I've updated my gains, and I'd like to give that to you. And if you've updated yours, I'd love to see that too, so that we can have more to talk about the accomplishments and the goals and the act, right? Okay, build trust. And the last one is refer. We need to proactively refer when we have built trust with people. We won't refer unless we know, like, and trust. So Lucienne was right to really get that out of my conversation. So it's important that if you haven't got a referral to make, that you make sure that in the one-to-ones, you're thinking differently. You're interviewing the other person differently. You're asking them more information. Wait a minute. let me think more about your target market and who possibly in my network would be appropriate for that. And how would it be right for me to actually address this? What should I be asking them? So if you're not getting referrals, it's because in here, you're not asking the right questions. And I'm not saying that you're going to have a referral for every person in the chapter. You might not, but you might have an introduction for everyone in the chapter. That means you could bring a visitor. You could invite someone to meet them. Alex once asked me if a referral could be put in if Mark says that he's really looking to meet real estate agents. Then and Alex introduces Mark to a real estate agent, is that a referral? No, because Mark was actually asking for referral partners, not referrals. So it's not a referral, but it is a point. Take it. Invite those real estate agents to come to the chapter and let the current real estate agent know that the reason you invited them was so that they could meet Mark. Right? So in their chapter, and that's Business Express. So in Business Express, when Max is there, and Max is the real estate agent, Max is going to welcome people who Alex invites because he knows that Mark is going to benefit from it. Yeah? As long as it's done well and with good etiquette. But you only find these things out through the building of trust. So referrals should be something you're thinking about all the time. And here's a little bit of etiquette for you. You need to have a weekly flow. You need to have a weekly commitment to put the information into BNI Connect. I know your presidents are asking you for that. I know that the presidents are writing a note every week and they're saying, don't forget to put your stats in. And by the way, it's the 31st of August. I'm telling you, don't forget to put your stats in. We want the chapters to look green that should be green. And I don't like the excuse that, oh, we forgot to put our data in. That's not fair because we need green chapters in our region. And if your chapter's doing everything and it's not showing up, then that's not right. Because it looks bad. When Presidential puts up on their screen where they are, and they do, in the chapter traffic lights, because they're very proud of it, and they're number one up there, it also shows everybody else. Wouldn't it be great if it showed everybody else in green too? Oh, it just kills me when they put that up. I really don't, I don't even like it. But it shows that there's red chapters in our region, and oh, please. I don't want that. All right. So these are the 5 commitments you've made. I have not taught you anything new. This whole slide was a waste of your time. Let's go to the next one.
Wendy, could I just ask one quick question?
Yes.
Just on referral, just because I'm sort of still newish. So
Yeah.
if I've gone to another chapter and I've met a member there, and in their 45-second presentation that they've noted that they're looking, they've got a client who's looking for example a property manager because he's helping them buy investment properties, and they don't have a property manager in their group, and I'm thinking, well, we've got one in our group. So is that, if I connect that BNI member with our BNI member, is that a referral? What is that?
It's not a referral, but ideally that person will let you put the referral in for their client. So in other words, you could put a referral into your property manager and have it be a second tier referral to that person's client.
Alan's right. Alan's just popped in the chat. It's an introduction.
Yeah. Well, it's an introduction, but it could turn into a referral, and it depends on the two members. So Liz, you're in chapter A, and the person who needs the property inspector is in chapter B. The person in chapter B could make the referral directly to the property manager. And you've done a nice introduction. So that's exactly right. That is an introduction. And if you're doing that all the time, you're going to get a reputation, and it's a good reputation for connecting people in your chapter. So the closed business would go probably back to the person who gave the referral. There's no rule on this one. It's a good question, but there's no rule. If the person in chapter B says, oh, that'd be great, could you put me in touch with them? And you're doing all the work, maybe you could put the referral in. But if they say, oh, that's great, I'll look them up and I'll put the referral in, then they've done the work.
Yeah, so option A. So I've done all the connecting.
If you've done all the connecting, then you should put the referral into them to the end user. So
I can tell you here now, Liz, you doing those introductions, you will be front of mind for everyone, right? It's such a great thing to do.
Yeah. The point does and doesn't matter. As long as someone's putting in the referral and as someone's communicating with the person who needs the service. Yeah. So yeah, if you're doing all the work, I reckon you should get credit for the referral and definitely credit for the closed business. But if that person learns from you that you know someone and then they do all the work, they should get the closed business. That'd be my etiquette, a guideline, let's call it.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Thank you.
Really great question, because it happens a lot when we visit other chapters. Good. All right. So let's go on to inviting visitors. I had a one-to-one with someone today, and I went through this list with them, and they said it was exceptionally helpful. So I would like to just share this with you guys, all of you, all on the recording and everything. In order to invite visitors, your mindset needs to be different. I think your mindset should be about making those weekly invitations, and I've already talked about that. Who am I going to bring this week? Who will I invite to come with me for next week? If you start thinking in weekly terms rather than monthly terms, you will absolutely change your results already, especially if you actually invite them, not just think about inviting them. Oh my God, Wendy, what do you mean? Well, so many people think I should invite that person, or I could invite that person. I could just do it. There's nothing stopping you from saying and doing it. And if you use your app, just do the invite. It'll send them the link already, and it at least has the words there for you. So you add, hi, Jessica, to the beginning of it, and then it says the rest. I'd love you to come to my BNI meeting. Please register here. And it registers them for your meeting. Yeah. So if you won't make the call, at least make the text or write them an email and make that happen on a regular basis. I bet if you invite someone every week that you get at least one person into your chapter each and every month. I just bet. And I'd be willing to take a bet. So if anybody wants to bet me on that and prove to me that you've done the invite and do the invite week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, and you don't get a visitor, I'll pay up. I don't know what I'll pay, but I'll take your bet. Okay, weekly invitation. So that's hint number 1. Hint number 2, invite people in open categories. But wait, invite people in closed categories too. Invite. I'm looking at. Let's look at Brad. Brad is a coach, a leadership coach, and if I meet another leadership coach, and I think of Brad, I'm going to invite them to meet Brad. And I'm going to say, listen, Brad, I invited my friend Denise to visit your chapter. I didn't yet, by the way, but I already talked to her about you. So I invited Denise. She is also a leadership coach. I'd love for her to meet you. So I've invited her to the chapter. Not to take your seat, not to take your referrals, not to become a member, but to meet Brad. Invite people in closed categories for no other reason than you want them to meet the person in the closed category. Do you know a real estate agent and you want to invite them to meet Andrew in your chapter in Pittwater Professionals? Absolutely you do. And how will Andrew benefit? Because he will have credibility up through the roof, because in the meeting he'll look like a star. And how will that help the real estate agent who can't get into your chapter? It will introduce him or her to BNI and the actual work that it does to help build Andrew's business. So invite people in open categories, invite people in closed categories, invite your competitors. So I was talking to my my one-to-one partner today, and I shared with him how generous it would be for him to invite his own competitors and let them know that this is how he builds his business, and that it would be great for them to come and see how it works. How cool would that be? Yeah. So Paul, if you were to invite people who do pools, they can't join your chapter. They can't be part of it. You're already there. but they can come and see what BNI is like, and then you can introduce them to another chapter after they see how great it is. You get the visitor point. Yeah. They get exposure to BNI. They can then become part of another chapter, because Crystal, where did Crystal go? Crystal left. Crystal's chapter doesn't have a pool person in it. So you'd be able to say, listen, we've got another chapter that meets, and they would love to have you in there. Let me introduce you to them. All right. Invite your suppliers, people who supply you, even if they'll never become a member. Never. They have a retail shop. They open at 6 a.m. They'll never be at their meeting. They can't do it. But can they come one time? Can they come once? Can they get someone to cover for one day? Why would they come? Because they get to meet everybody. They get to meet an accountant. They get to meet a mortgage broker. They get to meet a painter. They get to meet a aged care professional. They get to meet a Sparky. They get to meet a leadership coach. They get to meet someone who does wallpaper. They get to meet an IT specialist. Yeah? How amazing is that? And all of these people have credibility. We want the supplier to come one time, because 30 to 40% of our revenues come from visitors. So why not have them come once? Clients, invite your clients. Have your clients come to the meeting and wax lyrical about how great you are. Introduce them to people during open networking and say, listen, I just finished their house, or I just finished their work, or I just got them a great refund, or whatever you're doing. And use them as testimonials during the open networking, both before and after the meeting. It'll look amazing. They will say out loud, Allison invited me. Yeah. And it'll be great, because they will also get to meet all of the other people in the chapter. You're not inviting people to join. And another point that I made during my one-to-one was that when you invite a visitor, I want to give you a complete, clear conscience. You are not endorsing them for membership, unless you do endorse them for membership. The membership committee will ask you, or should ask you, if you know that person, like them, and trust them, and want them to be part of the chapter. And if the membership committee doesn't ask you that, why don't you go and tell them? If you do know, like, and trust that person and want them to be part of the chapter, and they put in an application, let the membership committee know that. All right? And if you don't know them, maybe let them know that too. Say, listen, by the way, I met them. They were just mowing the lawn of the guy next door, so I invited them. I've never met him since, I don't know him from anybody, from Adam, right? So I just want to free you of the burden of thinking that you're endorsing them as a member just because they're there as a visitor of yours. You aren't. Okay? How does that fall with all of you guys who are here live with me? You're all good? Ed?
Sorry, just unmute.
Yeah.
One thing that you haven't got on there that I think people don't do enough of is leveraging when you're doing your 10-minute presentation to invite people. So saying, hey, listen, would you come and support me at this thing that I'm speaking at in front of lots of local business people? And I know that Charlie Pidcock's doing that tomorrow, and I'm sure he'll have at least 10 visitors.
Well, Charlie goes into battle with Peter Fokos, and the two of them, when they speak, Peter brings 35 people from his family. It's very amusing.
Absolutely. I have done a lot of training on inviting visitors. So what I was capturing here is just the kinds of people to invite and how often. Yeah. But the reasons to invite them there are so many reasons to invite people. That's a great one. And I think you should run a marketing campaign, to be honest. 3 weeks, 6 weeks out, think about what your topic's going to be. Tell people about your topic. Tell people, invite your own visitors yourself that you want to see do your presentation. Don't waste a showcase presentation. They're too fun. Alex.
Oh, just a couple of things to share. And I see people when your presentation and you do up the social post, and you just ask every members in your chapter to post on their social posts. And so there's a reason that creates a reason for everybody to invite. So that I have seen in other chapters they did that. So you know your topic, and so you create your own social post and say, hey guys, please post this on your social and or comment if I post things like that. So I think that's a good way to do that. I just want to share. Thank you, Wendy, for sharing that. Invite visitors list. Because last week I did invite a real estate agent. When our chapter already have a real estate agent, I got a little bit whinge about that. But then I was looking at, oh, you can actually invite closed categories. So thanks for confirming that. And because I thought, well, even though we have a real estate and if she was interested, and so we were able to put her in contact with concierge and also other people in our chapter. For example, I think she could do some work with our architect. She could do some work with our buyer's agent. She could do some work with the plumbers and electricians. And so it actually bringing business to other people in my chapter. It's not all about it has nothing to do with me, but I'm very happy that should be able to bring in chapters work for other people in my chapter.
Absolutely. And so for all of you watching, I'm so glad that you brought that up, Alex, because there is, first of all, we as members need to be confident in our seat. We need to be confident in our seat. We need to be confident in the relationships that we've formed with our fellow members. We need to be confident in the fact that they're going to protect us. And if we're not confident in that, then we need to work harder ourselves at our own credibility and visibility, because it might mean that we don't have as good of relationships as we thought so. I will caution a couple of things. It is important that the etiquette when you invite someone is that you explain to them that you already have someone in the chapter, but not to dissuade them, more as an exciting thing. I'm so excited because I want you to meet the real estate agent in our chapter. He's amazing and he gets a lot out of BNI. That's the way to tell the visitor about the member. You don't say, you can't join because we've already got one. Don't say that. I'm really excited for you to come because I can't wait for you to meet that person. That's the way to invite them. And it's very important that you also tell the member that you've done the invitation. So make sure that you call the real estate agent and say, listen, I'm so excited. I met a real estate agent and I know that that person's going to be able to do a lot of business with other people in the chapter. I'd love for her to meet you when she arrives so that I can do an introduction and you can tell her how much BNI has helped you. So if Alex doesn't use all the words that I just used, I need the member to be confident that that's the way that Alex meant it. We all have to have trust in each other, that we're not trying to undermine the members category. We're actually trying to give exposure to everybody, to that visitor. Does that make sense? Does anybody disagree with that as a strategy? Yeah? Have confidence and be as great of a member as you can be, so that you have that confidence, because it's true, it's earned, it's deserved confidence. Nobody would give a referral to another property lawyer if you brought a property lawyer to Business Express. They would give their business to Mark, but they would love to get to know, like, and trust that person as a client and maybe as a supplier. And who knows, Mark might find that that person is a company that they could collaborate with, or that they could buy. They could merge. They could become partners. They could do all kinds of things. You never know what a connection is going to make. All right, we only have 7 minutes left, so I'm going to go to the next slide, if that's all right. I've been a stickler for time this whole time, so I want to keep it up. In your 61 days to success, I want you to visit a green chapter. I want you to visit a green chapter. And I think that the best way to do this would be as a chapter. As a chapter. You go as a team. We can organize this for you. So I want you to work with your director. Your director can support you in this. If you're a Friday chapter, you could go to a Friday meeting. If you're a Thursday chapter, you can go to a Thursday meeting. If you're a Wednesday chapter, you can go to a Wednesday meeting. If you're a Wednesday chapter, you could go to a Thursday meeting if you want to, but we're going to make this work for you. And we really want to help make you, let you go as a team, take notes during the meeting, and then do a debrief. What did they do right? What did they do differently? What did they do that you could do? How many ideas are you getting from this? We would like you to do that. And you don't need to close that day. You actually can just change your venue. Yeah, you can change your venue to the green venue. And we will work with you to do this. So if you are in Andrew's chapters, please talk to Andrew. He will help organize this. If you're in my chapters, please talk to me. I will help you organize this. And if you're in Annette's chapters, please talk to Annette because she will help you to do this. We need to pick a date that works for people. And we really want to do this. And we want to make sure that that date works well for the other chapter as well. Okay, so let's see what we can do to get your entire chapter to move its venue for a day. All right, all of your visitors can go to that one. It doesn't matter. You don't stop inviting visitors for a week because you're not going to be at your regular venue. Let them know we're going to visit another chapter. And it'll work. I promise you, it'll be very good. All right. Weekly leadership meetings. During the 61 days to success, I would really like your leadership teams to spend 30 minutes maximum as a group after each meeting, either on Zoom or maybe directly after the meeting, to debrief what's just happened and to plan for the next few weeks. You're going to need your visitor host coordinator there to debrief on the visitor orientation. You're going to need your mentor coordinator there to talk about the mentoring that might need to happen for new members or for people who are in their first 90 days. You're going to need your president, your vice president, your treasurer there to make sure that everything's moving very smoothly. You're probably going to need your education coordinator there. All right. The vice president can represent the entire membership committee there, but the membership committee is also welcome to be part of it. I'm asking during the next 61 days for you to make this a weekly practice so that you can really sharpen the saw, really sharpen it. You're probably having weekly meetings already. If you're having fortnightly or monthly meetings and you're only doing the CSM, then I'm asking you as part of your 60 days to success for the next 2 months, do a weekly leadership meeting for 30 minutes maximum after the meeting. Invite everybody to attend it, put it in their diaries, and let's see what we can do to really up the game for the next 60 days. Recapping our whole agenda, we talked about the chapter environment. We talked about the chapter education. We've talked about the member and the visitor experience. We've talked about the ask, which is what you're asking for in your referrals. And we've talked about giving the referrals and how to do it. And now today we've talked about power teams and what's next. What's next is the 61 days to success. And we need to put into place all of these building blocks that we've just reviewed and gone through with you. So what I'd like to do now is ask you, what will you implement from this program? What will you implement from this program? And I'd love for you to share it in the chat. What's one thing that you know that you will implement in this program? And think about it from the chapter perspective, but also maybe just you. What will you do? Love the new client idea and can think of a couple. Yeah, that's great. Visitor commitment, getting the power team meeting going. Focus on filling gaps with visitors. Yeah, that's good. I love that. And 60 days to success. Alan, I love that. It will require 61 days. Don't shortchange you. If you treat your BNI chapter as your biggest client, it soon will be. And that, Andrew, is the truth. It really is. So you guys, the last slide that I have here is for questions. I'm happy to stay here to answer some questions if you've got any, but embrace quality. Quality is what matters. Grow your team and seek engagement from your team. That's the culture we want, because we don't want one person or three people doing everything. We want the leadership team to be well supported and well divide and conquer, as I always say. Make sure you're telling stories about this and going to training or stories you've heard through the training. That's what BNI is all about. And so with that, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to stay on the line and talk to anybody. If you've got to go, you can go. I will stop the recording because that's a smart thing to do. And thank you to everybody who watched all the way to the end. I'm really proud of you for being here, and stop the recording.